Hey guys, what's going on? So, I don't know if my new thing is just going to be shitting on other people's decks, but here's another one. Now, I expect this from B4U, but not you, Chops Face. Not you. No, I have no idea who Chops Face is. I guess I want to say one thing. I want to say a couple of things before I go into this. I feel like somebody out there might say, why are you calling these people out? You should blur their name. That would be the right thing to do. And I feel like if this person watches this video, hopefully they learn something. Hopefully they learn something and they utilize I can show them why all of the decisions that they're making are wrong. And then they can make smart decisions and beat me next time because they should, or because they probably should. There was a part of me that wanted to also do this video to state something that I don't know if I've ever stated, but I've always just thought. And that is, whenever anybody was asking me for the last couple of, I don't know, maybe years now, however long I haven't done a tier list video because there's no need to, I feel like somebody would have asked me, okay, we know that the Pantheon units are good, but what about a Reincarnate 3 Inquisitor? How good is that? Is that just right there next to Pantheon? And this is the thing that I've always thought of, but I don't know if I've ever stated in a video, and I'll state that now because yeah. The thing that I've always thought of, whenever anybody would theoretically think to ask me that, and I was thinking up my response, and what I would do for my own account, is why would you invest in something that's not an event unit? This is before Pantheon. Reincarnation was invented before Pantheon units, and my thing was always well, if the event units are the best units, and they have reincarnated those units, why would you want to reincarnate something that was not gonna be good? I mean, maybe because you really like the card. I really like Blade Dancer. When Blade Dancer gets reincarnation, if I'm done reincarnating an event unit that I really like, which is probably gonna be Treant, why would I want to reincarnate a Blade Dancer just to be able to beat other Blade Dancer decks and maybe Banshee decks and non-Pantheon unit decks, but I still lose to Pantheon because I didn't use all of those resources, which are a lot of resources to reincarnate something. And then you also have to reincarnate the other things in order to get all of the benefits. Why would I spend that amount of resources reincarnating a Knight Statue, a Boreas, and a Minotaur just to have a subpar unit that still wouldn't beat an event unit, even though you're using the same amount of resources, reincarnating an event unit? Now, you could say that the resources involved in reincarnating an event unit are sometimes other event units, and that's valid, and getting an event unit at all is a $10, at a time investment, and that is also valid, and maybe that's the reason why you're doing it. But if you have the money to reincarnate 3, a Inquisitor, and then reincarnate 2, a Knight Statue, and then reincarnate 1, a Boreas, and then reincarnate 1, a Minotaur, and then reincarnate 2, a Kobold, and then reincarnate a Summoner, and then reincarnate a Demonologist, right? You have the money. You have the money. You could literally just do this, but with an event unit, and just be so much better. But, benefit of the doubt, okay? I don't know this person. Maybe he really likes Inquisitor. So I thought that seeing the power of this deck, and I say the power of this deck because when this screen popped up, I was like, holy crap, this guy has a Reincarnation 3 Inquisitor and a 2 Knight Statue and a 2 Kobold. I was like, this guy is the Inquisitor master. This man knows more about Inquisitor than I do, because I never play Inquisitor because I think it's a dumb unit, because I don't like one unit decks. I was like, if there are any tips and tricks for Inquisitor, this man has it. And then I realized he has Knight Statue and Kobold in the same deck. If you haven't read Kobold, if the player's deck contains an enchant sword or a Knight Statue, in addition to the Kobold, the effect is reduced by a factor of 5. As in, whatever your stack level is, divide that by 5, and that is your actual percentage of damage. So he's using Kobold and Knight Statue. He has no way of abusing Kobold, other than to fill the field, presumably. Now, I thought, and I'll play the game out. I thought, so there's a point in this game where he starts adding Knight Statues. The reason for why would you add a lot of Knight Statues on the field? Well, because Inquisitor is a 1-unit deck, because you're using Knight of Darkness, you're not using any of the rest of the field, right? You just need the Inquisitor on your field, that's it. Everything else gets absorbed. Your other Inquisitors that go onto the field get absorbed. Why would you run a Harley Quinn? Presumably to copy Inquisitors as they come out, and then they all get absorbed into your one Inquisitor, because that's the only way you're stacking damage. You're also stacking damage from Kobold, and so what you would do is you use your Knight Statue. You use either Sharpened Spear or Covenant of Veteran. It almost doesn't matter which. I want to say Covenant of Veteran is better. No, no, you know what? I think Covenant of Veteran is probably better, but now you have to have an even amount of Knight Statues or else you get just super screwed. And the reason for that is that there's the third talent where if you use the right side, for every Knight Statue that you have on the field, for every merge rank that it has, you get an extra % of crit damage. Now, an extra % of crit damage is not a lot, but if you have a large quantity of you could have a large quantity of Knight Statues on the field, and each one that becomes, a 7 is giving you 7 extra % of crit damage. And with the bonus that's happening right now of Light Faction and Forest Faction getting level ups, it would actually become easier to just merge rank up all of your random Knight Statues, and then you would get that much % in extra crit damage. Is he running that? No. So he's running Hold the Line. Now, the way that Hold the Line works is you have to have the same unit around your Knight Statue. Now, if you only have the one unit around the Knight Statue, like that's touching the Knight Statue, then that works. And then you're getting full benefit. But you could be running Stone Legion and add a lot of Knight Statues onto the field. And if you had 3 7s, that would be 21% damage, 21% crit damage. Whereas this, you're getting 15%. And I just don't understand why if he was going to do that strategy, if he was going to add just a bunch of Knight Statues on the field and level them up through either scrapper hits or through the fact that you're getting the faction bonus this week, I don't know why he wouldn't be running Stone Legion instead. He's running Roll Call for no reason. Barrier is obviously much better. And then he's running Covenant of Veteran. Scrapper, he's running Successful Shift and Waste Free. The 30% damage that you're getting from the Scrap-em-all, 20% damage. The 20% additional damage that you're getting from Scrap-em-all is too good to not have. I could argue with I think the waste, I think he's running Waste Free, and Successful Shift so that he can get extra scrapper hits, but there's no reason for it. Once you have your Knight Statue, once you have your Inquisitor on the field, you just get that to a 7, and then it doesn't really matter where the other hits go. You just need to get an Inquisitor. Your main opening game is get an Inquisitor on a tile and then just eat everything else, level your Inquisitor to 7, and then play out the rest of your field. That's the strategy. That's been the strategy forever. Which brings me to my next point, because there's an additional point. What amulet do you think he's running? I'll give you a couple minutes. Here's a couple of choices. What amulet do you think he's running in the 1-unit Dark Inquisitor deck? Did you guess Growth Tile? Nope. Magic Amulet. So, again, with a 1-unit deck, you're definitely going to run Growth Amulet. And you can argue any of these points by saying, oh, well, what if he doesn't have it? There's no way this man has invested this much into an Inquisitor deck and doesn't have Growth Tile. The idea that he wouldn't have a Growth Tile or a Growth Amulet is insane. I can say the crit bow I can be okay with. I feel like as an Inquisitor player, you're taught to use Spear. But now that crit has become such a big thing and most of your damage will probably come from crit, the crit bow is becoming now the better thing. So I can be okay with that. He also has a level 5 bubble wand on his mermaid. I don't know why he's running mermaid. I could see the double protection, but I feel like having more damage is just better. I think that the kobold obviously doesn't need to be in here. Or he could run the kobold and then run a gunslinger instead. He can and take out the knight statue, but one of them has to go. You can have the 15% on a gunslinger. You could probably run a gadget. You could run a gadget, and then whenever one of your growth tiles goes onto a gold tile, you can then move your Dark Inquisitor onto that tile at some point during the game, if that ever happens. If it never happens, you just use the growth tile, and it's fine. You're getting a bonus off of the gadget anyway. You're getting a speed bonus, an attack bonus. You're getting all the bonuses off of the gadget anyway. There's no reason for the Harley Quinn. I guess you could argue that it's for, like I said, the extra stacks for Inquisitor so that you get extra copies. But I think that just running a Trapper is probably better because he has no defense reduction. He doesn't even have a Mari in order to get the pseudo defense reduction off of that. I guess he's running Acrid Waste on the Scrapper, so that's something. But other than that, he's not getting anything else. So there's no real reason for the Harlequin. There's obviously no reason for both a Knight Statue and a Kobold. So you take one or the other. If you take the Knight Statue, you probably take, you replace, you do Gunslinger Trapper. I think in either case you do Gunslinger Trapper, because even if you take out the Knight Statue and you just have the Kobold, the Gunslinger will help you put the tiles onto, or put the it'll help you put the kobolds into squares. He's running Magic Pick as opposed to Miner's Light. I feel like most people don't. It's so like thought intensive at every stage of the game. You have to like scrapper you have to have a scrapper on the field, and then you have to eat it with a scrapper, and you have to time that with both the Phantom as well as the bosses that are coming out. You could time it with just the Phantom and give your opponent a bigger boss, but I feel like you want both, and then at that point you need you need 2 kobolds on the field. At which point, that's probably why he's running Successful Shift, because then he has too many things. I don't know what's happening with this deck, is what I'm trying to say. The The short answer is I have no idea what's happening with this deck. I'm gonna play this out. I'm gonna skip an ad, and I hate doing that because I'm very ad intensive right now. If anybody wants to know my progress in being like watching every ad that I possibly can, I'm at 18,500 and oh my god. I'm at 18,500 and I still haven't done any of these. So all of this, and I'm already at 18,500. Most people, when they finish all of the quests, will get to 20,000. And I still have all of these quests to do. So being very ad intensive, like refreshing all of my quests every single day. I've finished all my quests. I refresh all my quests every day because that's an extra 5 per day. And it's pretty good. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to play this out. I think talking about this match as it's being played out will just anger me more, so I won't. And I feel like I've said enough about why everything about this is terrible. He also has more crit than me, which means he definitely has a growth tile, and he's just choosing not to use it. Because I don't know how you go your entire Inquisitor career without thinking about having a growth tile. But yeah, just everything about this deck is terrible, and I just don't understand any of the decisions. I'm just gonna let this play out. I'll catch you guys next video. I told you that if I watched this for too long, I would just have another thing to comment about. You can rewind this video. He waited to Harley Quinn the Knight statue so that when it became a 3, and that would be fine if he didn't have a level 15 Harley Quinn that could copy anything at any point. But yeah, he could have done that at any point. I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand what's happening here. See, like right now, his Knight statue, the only thing that's touching it is the Inquisitor. So he is getting full benefit off of the Knight statue. But if anything touches the other 2 squares, he loses the benefit. So keep that in mind for the rest of this game, because it's the only way he's getting full benefit off of having hold the line. I also don't like that he has the other Knight statue. Well, I mean, he could move the Kobold Square at any point. Hopefully he does that. But the idea of having Kobold with no way to move it is that you fill up the field and then you leave just the 2 Kobold squares and that you can scrap or bounce off of. I don't think he's gonna do that, because if he fills up the board, then the Knight statue will not give him the bonus. He just copied a Kobold with his level 2. He copied a Scrapper, and I don't understand that decision at all. I don't know why he feels the need to have more Scrappers. He now has a Knight statue touching the Knight statue, which means he loses the bonus. He doesn't have the 15% bonus for the hold the line anymore. And he has a random Scrapper or a random Kobold right there. Presumably that's for so that he can magic pick something. And that's why you would keep them on the field. But then keeping it on the field also just gives you another thing for the Scrappers to hit. And if it gets out of control and your Scrapper isn't high enough, then it's just gonna stay on the field. At which point you can't magic pick it. Yeah, see, like right here, I was like, oh, he's obviously using Stone Legion. That's pretty smart. Because I didn't look at his talents when I was playing. And I was like, oh, that's pretty smart. Like, this guy really knows his stuff about Knight Statue. As he should, because he has this kind of deck. I was like, that's a crazy strategy. Just to fill up your field with a bunch of Knight Statues. He's not using the Kobold button. Oh, actually, no, he did use it to move it once, but he's not trying to get Kobold stacks. I mean, not that they matter, because like I said, it's divided by 5 and it's terrible with Knight Statue, so you shouldn't be using it. But if he is going to use it, why isn't he doing it? I guess, you know what, the Knight Statue also gives you defense reduction because of the 15 ability. Reduces monster armor by 25%. So that's giving you some amount of defense reduction. And then the Scrapper. Reincarnation abilities might also give you defense reduction. So maybe he felt like he had enough. I don't know. He's copying a bunch of Kobolds. And again, that doesn't make sense. I feel like I would want more stacks on the Inquisitor as opposed to just copying all of these Kobolds. I would like save all of my Harlequins on the field. He's like immediately using them. If you were running Covenant of Veteran anyway, you could get an infinite number of stacks on your Knight statue if he was just running the right side instead of Successful Shift. Because you could just combine and then minus it, and then combine and minus it. I guess he could theoretically, he could still do that, actually. I think he's just not. He's not focusing on the Knight statue that's touching the Inquisitor for some reason. It only has 12 stacks, which means he's not focusing on it. The worse your deck is, the better you have to play it. You have to be like the best version of whatever this kind of deck is in order to even kind of compete with anything. People with a Zeus don't have to like do anything. You can play bad decks, you can play bad, and it doesn't matter because Zeus will carry you. But if you're gonna play like this kind of deck and then also just not be good at it and just make weird decisions, you're gonna get beat with a non-reincarnation person with 800 less crit than you. I never understand how people could have this. This is why I made that B4U video. It's like, I never understand how people could have this much money and play this bad. It bothers me every single time I play against somebody like this.